All right, welcome back to Lost for Words with Lori. It is Saturday. Man, March is already moving really fast. I can't even believe it's already 11 days in, but I hope everybody is having a wonderful morning. I rolled out of bed, realized that I was out of coffee and needed to go get coffee. So I stopped at the local coffee shop and grabbed me a cuppa, and then stopped at the grocery store to pick up supplies because I've been neglecting shopping all week. And been distracted with other things, which we'll get into here in a little bit. So, yeah, I've had a productive morning already. I've been awake for about an hour and a half, and I'm ready to, vent out another podcast for you all. It's strange because it's cyclical, right? You know, we get busy, we don't have time to do podcasts or YouTube or whatever, it is because, my first world is busy. With 2 jobs and working and all that other stuff. And the last podcast that I did, I was giving you guys the scoop about joining that dating app on Facebook, which was quite enlightening after 24 hours. But I digress. I will explain here in a minute. So, as you know, I'm going to title this, "There's a fine line, a thin line even." And what that means to me is there's a fine, thin line between confidence and arrogance, right? I mean, I know I joke around a lot, and people who know me in my first world or are on my Facebook know that my background picture says I'm kind of a big deal. And that stems from a joke. But if I acted like I was really a big deal, then I could understand why people would think that I was arrogant or full of myself or whatever. I mean, I've even been accused of being a narcissist, for fuck's sake, and here I am preaching to the choir about how to avoid people who are narcissists and how to handle toxic narcissism, right? For how long? So, confidence and arrogance, right? So, if I honestly believed that my shit didn't stink and I was, kind of a big deal in real time, that would be arrogant. However, I'm a confident woman. I am very confident in who I am. I basically can stand up for myself. I know I'm a good human. And when it comes to the dating thing, I'm one in a million, folks. I mean, and that's not arrogance. That's not being full of myself. But Toby believed that. He used to tell me, "You are a 1 in a million." My ex-husband told me that. "You're 1 in a million." Yeah, you know what? I am. Because I care about myself and I care about other people and I try to treat people the way that they deserve to be treated. And I don't act like I'm entitled to anybody's bullshit. So when I say that, that's confidence. Being able to carry yourself in an air of, I know who I am, I know what I'm about, and I don't, and I'm going to be transparent and authentic, right? There's a huge thing about being authentic, and I've been talking about that a lot. I hate disingenuous people. I hate people who blow smoke up my ass for their own agenda, and it's frustrating. So let's just dive into it. So I joined that dating app and, started weeding out people, and this person looks interesting, and responding to people who were messaging me back. And that was fine and dandy. And again, like I told you guys on the other podcast, no, I don't want to see pictures of your chickens. Unsolicited, penis pictures are not on my agenda. And to be fair, I need to have an emotional attachment with somebody before I'm going to jump in the sack with them. So these people looking for casual hookups, no. So I mean, you get a chance to weed people out. And I'm not a shallow person. I don't care about looks. I mean, God, I'm not a supermodel by any means, and I've gained 75 pounds in, 2 years over COVID. So I'm not judgy. I don't care if you're short, fat, thin, old, wrinkled, whatever. I read the room, man. I'm an empath, right? I'm a super empath if you really want to get technical. So I'm not judgy. I'm going to talk to you regardless, but it's interesting that, because I've been both fat and thin, but it's interesting to the dynamic of what kind of people that you find who exude their own confidence, right? Who are confident with who they are, have enough self-esteem to say, you know what, I understand that I'm fat or short or gray or bald or whatever, and they don't let it define them. And that kind of confidence is wonderful. But then there's some other people who may have been the jock in high school, and maybe the super quarterback on the football team, and when they grow up, they act like they're still entitled. They act like they still have their shit don't stink, even though they might be 30 years older and got fat and bald and whatever, but they still have a chip on their shoulder and that arrogance. They never learned humility. They never learned to be humble. I learned a long time ago to be very humble. But again, there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance has no humility. And confidence does. And I think that's a huge takeaway. It's a huge something for people to be paying attention to, is that you can have confidence and humility and it will be authentic and people will understand and see that. But you can have arrogance and no humility, and that just makes you a fucking douchebag. Seriously. So let me get into this. So I went ahead and started chatting up a couple of people on this Facebook dating app, which is fine. And trust me, if you're going to go look for me there, I'm on break. And I might even just delete the fucking app because, honestly, you know, what a fucking nightmare. But a lot of people were like, you know, your fiance died, and he did. I miss Toby every single day. The pain of that loss is never going to go away, folks. Never. And trying to explain that to a bunch of horny old men, they don't give a fuck about my feelings. They don't give a fuck about my emotions. They only care about getting laid, right? And I'm not about that, and I've made it pretty clear I ain't about that. You know, next. But even my closest friends, even my therapist, because I've talked to her about dating, about being lonely, about, you know, companionship, about being solo. When you're ready, you're ready. When you're not, you're not. I decided to just throw my hat in the ring and see what would happen. And, you know, being on texting or social media or anything else, people can talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And I hate to tell people this, but when I say that I have boundaries and expectations, I fucking mean it. And they will be respected. And if they aren't, you're not going to get the result that you're looking for. So I met a couple of people and I started chatting one up who's local. Of course, these are all local people. I would hope to meet somebody nice in real time and be able to go out and have coffee or, you know, go play games or, you know, just have a good time, maybe even dinner without feeling like I owe them anything, you know? But anyhow, so I met somebody and started talking to them, and they seemed very real, very genuine, very transparent, you know. But I disregarded the thin line between confidence and arrogance. I'm confident to a fault. I'm transparent. I'm honest. There's no subject that is off the table with me. And if I'm not comfortable talking about it, I'll tell you, you know what, let's table this conversation. We'll talk about it another time. But I'm an open book. You want to know if I'm, you know, what I like, you know, physically, I'll talk about it. But does it mean you're going to get it? Probably not. But I'll talk about any subject under the sun because I'm an open book and I'm not embarrassed to tell people what I think, or to tell people what I feel, right? So this person seemed really genuine, really authentic, and I thought, okay, cool. So we had made plans to get together today, like Saturday, this morning, and go do something in public, which would have been fine. But they started to get pushy, and I, you know, video chatted too. It's not like I didn't know what this person looked like or got to try to read their mannerisms, read the room, and, you know, they appeared to be on their best behavior, which I appreciated. And I banter and I flirt. I mean, fuck, you guys know me, and I have a twisted sense of humor just like anybody else, and I basically assume that a lot of people understand what the difference is between just bantering, joking, flirting, whatever, and what's real. So I agreed. You know, this person got very pushy about, you know, wanting to speed up the timeline of us going out, and, you know, kind of played a little bit of gaslighting, or played a little bit on my emotions of, well, you know, what are you waiting for? What are you afraid of? And kind of, I don't know, baited me, so to speak, into just going early. But again, what do I have to lose? So I did, and I agreed to meet them for, you know, drinks and trivia at the local, you know, whatever, barbecue, wing joint, whatever. And so that was cool, but they kept wanting to push the timeline, push it up. And I'm like, all right, they're anxious, excited, they want to meet me. That's cool. So, and again, there's a little bit of excitement that goes with that. You feel flattered, you feel excited to meet somebody. And so I had agreed to do that. And, I don't want to complain or make it seem like everybody's a douchebag or all guys or any of that. But, the red flags were out there from the beginning. And I need to trust my instincts, and I even talked it out with a couple of my friends, a couple of you who are listening to this know who you are, and said, am I just overthinking it? Am I looking for red flags and sabotaging this because I'm afraid and because I'm still grieving my loss for Toby? Maybe I'm not ready for this. But I went ahead and I sucked it up, and I went anyway, and it took a lot of fucking courage to pull me out of my comfort zone to do that thing. But I did it. I dressed, nicely, not over the top. I put on makeup, which I never fucking do, and I went in there with the air of confidence that I exude in my everyday life, open-minded and ready to just see what that would have been about. And I was very disappointed. This person had no respect for my boundaries, was very arrogant and self-centered, talked about themselves more than me, and basically when I told them, earlier in our conversations that I'm at a point in my life where I really don't know what I want. I'm out looking for experiences to figure out what makes me happy. But they tried to play on that, and oh, you're pretty, and oh, you smell good, and compliments are great. You can blow smoke up my ass all day, but giving me a hard time because I'm sipping on a beer because I don't drink, and then basically saying, well, you need a shot because you need to let loose a little bit. It's pushy, and it's not acceptable when somebody tells you they're not comfortable with that, and then you continue to keep on trying to change their mind and push at those boundaries. It's disgusting, to be fair, and disrespectful. So, the up and down kind of feeling out the conversation, but starting to feel uncomfortable. Nobody asked me if they could kiss me. Nobody asked if they could hold my hand or put their arm around me. And I was feeling pawed at and just kind of, I don't know, it was just kind of uncomfortable. But I let it go. We played some trivia. And then they said, well, let's go watch a movie. What's it going to take to get me to take you home or let you take me home or blah? And I basically said no. And then it was like a 5-year-old temper tantrum the rest of the night. The body language changed, the demeanor changed, and they were pounding beers so fast and acting really like an asshole. And I was very uncomfortable. And so, ending that, to be honest, I should have just pushed my chair back and said, you know what, dude, you obviously have no respect for my boundaries. You're not going to get me in bed. I'm not taking you home, and you can go fuck yourself. And I should have fucking left when I did. But to be fair, I even offered to pay half the bill, which I had a half of a beer, a glass of water, and a half a tray of cheese curds. And I paid $27 for that. Dude claimed you can have whatever you want, I'll pay for it. But then at one point had pulled out his wallet and said, oh, I should have went to the bank. And I'm like, okay, another red flag. Don't tell me you're going to take me out and pay for something and then act like a douchebag because you expected me to either go out to your house and watch a movie and claimed you weren't going to touch me and sit on your hands, and then act like an arrogant fool because you weren't getting the response or the expectation that you wanted. And I was transparent. I told them, and I said, what are your expectations? Well, I don't have any. Well, you obviously do, because you're treating me like garbage when I told you I wouldn't fucking go home with you. But that was never on the table. I don't fuck on a first date. Yeah. A fine line between arrogance and confidence. And then they had the audacity. I walked me to my car, sat in my car to have a cigarette, and then tried to gaslight me into, well, blah, 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 blah. You got to take life by the horns, and you only live once, and I'm not getting any younger, and what do you want? And I said, I don't know what I want. We've had this conversation. And they were really upset. They didn't like that. And they handled rejection like a 4-year-old at Walmart who didn't get a toy. Blah, 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 shut the door, think about it, babe. Shut my car door really hard, got in their car, and sped off. And I sat there and looked at myself, and the first thing I thought was, what the fuck just happened? And dodged a bullet. dodged a motherfucking bullet. It was like, dude, I just escaped the bro man, gym guy who thought that he was all that, and he got rejected, and he didn't call me any names, thank God. Not that it would have mattered, because I don't give a fuck. But again, it's the way you handle fucking rejection. And I mean, he acted like a spoiled little fucking kid. And then, of course, I cried all the way home, because I was like, what the fuck did I do? And then I really missed Toby. And I hate to get emotional about this, but fuck, man, I didn't ask for this shit. And I'm alone and I don't want to be. But I'd rather be alone than deal with fucking losers who treat me like garbage, because they don't get what they want. So I came home and I was really upset, and of course I had told 3 people that I was doing this, and I made sure that I touched base with them and connected with them. And so after talking to my friends and feeling a lot better about the situation, because yeah, frankly I was pissed. I don't deserve that. But I got a text message from dude, basically accusing me of locking myself in an emotional prison that he can't break through. Dude, I'm as open book about anything, and it isn't about an emotional prison. My expectations are clear, and if you want to get to know me, you got to respect my fucking boundaries. And to be fair, I told dude I had a YouTube channel, and he didn't even bother to go listen to any of my podcasts. And get to know what he was getting into before he tried to gaslight me, before he tried to fucking try and cross over my boundaries. I should have fucking kicked his dick in the dirt, to be fair. But again, he had his own agenda, and there were red flags that I ignored, but I gave somebody the benefit of the doubt, because I'm a nice person, and because he said all the right things. I mean, and what did I have to lose, right? But it's one bad experience with some douchebag who, now you know why you're single, motherfucker, because you treat people like assholes. You walk into a situation thinking that you own the room and that you're entitled to some bullshit because you said a few right words. Sorry, Charlie, but the person who's got the fucking emotional prison problem is you. You get rejected and you act like a 5-year-old. That's a fucking you problem, not a me problem, and I don't have to tolerate it. So I told him that. I texted back and I said, I don't deserve this. You acted like a 5-year-old. His response back was, well, sorry you feel that way. And I'm like, oh, well, there's the narcissistic buzzword, right? Have the day you fucking deserve. Have the life you deserve, but it ain't gonna be with me. And I honestly, it's sad. It's really sad that you cannot meet genuine, authentic people who will just be open, honest, and clear. I'm not an asshole. And I can grow, evolve, and change and talk to people and be respectful of their boundaries as much as they can mine. But you don't get to act like a fucking douchebag when I say no. No fucking means no, motherfucker. I don't sleep with anybody until I have an emotional attachment. And I made that abundantly clear and it's funny. The cool thing about the bad experience is that now when people come at me to talk, because I kept a couple of people from said app, and I'm still going to talk to them. I'm still going to give them a chance to get to know me. I'm a good human. I'm a wonderful person, and you'd be damned lucky to hang out and spend time with me. And that's not arrogance, that's confidence, right? But now I get to tell them I had a bad experience and you need to respect my boundaries, and explain to them, if you're looking for a fuck, you're barking up the wrong tree. But I feel like, I'd have to write a 30-page fucking bio for people to get to understand basic human decency to respect values, whether you're a man, woman, or anybody. But if that's what it takes, so be it. I'm really grateful that I have a year's worth of thoughts and emotions and all of the things that have gone on here on YouTube and social media and Toxic Cesspool World and Facebook is here documented, because it gives me the ability to go back and listen and look at how much I've evolved, grown, and changed, for one. And two, if anybody wants to get to know me, honestly, this is the best place to do it. Go back, listen to my shit, see me at my most vulnerable spots, see what makes me angry. You're going to get a pretty good idea of what I do and do not tolerate. And if you take the opportunity to do that, I'm not saying you got to spend, however many hours worth of content I've got getting to know me, but son of a bitch, you want to find out what makes me tick, this is the place to do it. Because I have been here for 2 years, because I have had a lot of experience in life, and I've shared transparently my first world with everybody. And I don't give two fucks. And I don't give two fucks what they think. Judge if you want, but if you're judging, then you got to take a look inward at your own goddamn self, right? And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I have met amazing people who are my best friends in virtual land, right? Some of you I've met in real life, some of you I haven't, because you're in Canada, or you're in, Australia, or you're in the United Kingdom. But I love and value and respect you because, you respect my boundaries, and you could be, fake or not. But if you were a friend of mine at one point on social media and you're not anymore, there's a reason for that. And you can be angry and bitter about it all you want, but at the end of the day, you got to look inside and fix your damn shit. I ain't nobody's doormat, right? That's what this is about, is confidence. It's about boundaries. It's about respect. And I have enough of that for myself that I will never allow anybody, whether it's virtual or in my first world, step on me and use me as a fucking doormat. I'm over those days. And I've always been pretty transparent about it. Respect me, respect my boundaries, and we're going to get along just fine. And I respect everybody else's. If I make a mistake, how many times have I apologized? How many times have I mean, because I have. I've behaved badly. I've had temper tantrums. I've been bad. I've treated some people poorly or overreacted or did something, but I've always owned my shit. I've always come back and apologized. It's a lesson, man. I'm not perfect. None of us is fucking perfect, and I'm gonna make mistakes. We're all gonna make mistakes. But if you don't have enough confidence in yourself to not be arrogant and to not be transparent and honest about who you are, you can't expect to go off and start tromping on anybody else. And at the end of the day, that's what matters to me. I may not be ready to date. I may not be ready to meet people. But I'm still going to do what I want to do at the end of the day and be me. And I'm not afraid to tell people no. But at the end of the day, how they react to that no says a hell of a lot more about their character than it does about me. And I stand by that, and I'll breathe it, speak it, shout it from the rooftops until my dying day. And the people who chose to listen, all of you who support me, love me, care about me, whether it's first world, second world, third world, you guys know that's facts. And you also know that if you've learned and started to grow in your own confidence, and established your own healthy boundaries, you've noticed your own positive change in your life, because it works. It's hard. It's tough. Change sucks. I get it. And it's difficult to, honestly, the hardest thing to do last night was to keep saying no, 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 and have to communicate with a fucking man-child who wasn't hearing me. But I did. And I held that boundary clear, because I respect and love myself. And I'm not going to compromise and go, he's right, maybe I should just drink 10 beers and go take him home and have sex, because that's what he wanted. It's not what I wanted. But he disrespected everything that I wanted, and my expectations about what the way that date was supposed to go were very clear. I'm not going home with you. Let's have a drink and play some trivia, and if it's cool, it's cool. We'll take it as it goes. But their assumption was, she's vulnerable. She's probably desperate. Big mistake to even think that, guys, by the way. I'm not desperate by any means, because if I was, I would have went home with the fucker. But I think he figured he could manipulate me or make me feel bad or, just weasel his way in by trying to say things or, come on, and didn't believe that I would have the balls to basically reject that or back myself up or say no. But I did, and his reaction spoke volumes about his character. So at the end of the day, douchebag, have the life you deserve. I hope you find the pushover that you're looking for. I hope you find the doormat that you want, Mr. Narcissist, because I'm not it. I don't deserve that, and you can think whatever you want about me, but at the end of the day, you lost the opportunity to meet and hang out with a really cool chick, with a really good human who always tries to think that, and that there's I try to think that the best about everybody, and I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But you lost that chance because you're a douchebag, and sorry, not sorry. So I hope this was informational. I hope it was educational. I hope you all enjoyed this rant and ramble about social experiment number 1. Am I gonna stop talking to people? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Am I gonna be even more forward and transparent and tell people, before they want to hang out with me, if you want to fuck, you're barking up the wrong tree? Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely I am. I'm going to make sure that I vet these people 100% better than I did with this one, who pushed me 48 hours into just a chat and a video chat on Facebook into meeting them, and then had expectations that were abso-fucking-lutely unrealistic. Sorry, be realistic. And I'm going to continue to talk to really cool people who are attempting to be authentic and are on the same page, and they could turn out to be douchebags too. But at the end of the day, I protect myself. I love me. I care about myself and my journey, and I'm not going backwards. So you guys know the drill, man. Wash your fucking hands. Be a good human. And let me know what you think in the comments, because Jesus fucking Christ, man. I'm going to go hang out with the canines today, doing the polar plunge. I'm super excited. And then I'm back to it. So love y'all. Have a great rest of your day.